All right, what's going on, listeners? What is this called again?
Cryptid versus Cryptid.
Cryptid
You literally
versus
made
Cryptid.
the name.
You made the name. I just took it because I couldn't think of anything else. You said
okay.
no. What was it? Bestial beatdown because it sounded like bestiality.
Yeah.
I thought it was clever, but you know what? Whatever. All right. So today's topic: Mothman and Bigfoot. Or should I say this month's topic? Basically, the premise of the podcast is just breaking down stats of monsters, some history, only light, because that's not really the main focus. And then we will do some evidence, and then the main event, fucking the fights, who we think would win, and then we'll talk about whether or not we believe. So, let's jump right into it.
Alright. Getting the stats out here first.
No, did you not listen to me?
Yeah.
History goes first.
Oh.
Come on, man. We talked about this like 20 minutes ago.
Pay attention.
So the Bigfoot one is brief. Didn't really put much down. I mean, Bigfoot is like
Pretty
an
well known.
icon, yeah. Like
if you live
even if you're not
anywhere,
into cryptids and stuff, like Bigfoot, he's everywhere. There's like cases in every state. There's a fucking case in Auburn.
Yeah.
It was pretty good. Not going to talk about it because at the same time it was lame. You didn't see anything. But like, if there's a case in Auburn, there's a case for Bigfoot all over, which is kind of ridiculous.
Like Asian countries even probably have heard of Bigfoot.
They have their own Bigfoot, but we're not going to cover that here.
Well, sorry, I'm jumping a little too heavy.
Now you're just giving away content. Okay. But yeah, so Bigfoot, he was brought to the public attention. I found in the 50s, the story behind that is, I don't know if it was a dude or a chick. They sent in this letter to the Humboldt Times talking about how these loggers saw these weird, like, large footprints, like, in the dirt on their way to their job. So I don't know if it was the loggers who sent it in, or maybe it was somebody who knew the loggers and they just didn't want to talk about it. Because, I mean, we'll talk about it probably later on, but nobody wants to be the guy who's like, I saw Bigfoot, because, you know, all throughout the cryptid history, people get ridiculed and shit for this stuff.
Yeah, that's
So,
true.
they sent in a letter, got published in the Humboldt Times. That kind of blew up. And that's there's earlier sightings, but this is like the earliest that it actually blew up in the large scale.
Yeah, and there's that picture, right? The famous one?
Oh god, you're talking about the Patterson-Gimlin film?
Yeah.
I fucking hate that.
I mean, I
The
just know
worst
that that's
part-
probably the most famous piece
I'll talk about it a little bit later on, but part of me hates it because it looks so fake, but at the same time, it looks so real that I just...
I mean, if it's filmed, you almost think it's staged, right? But
Almost. And, okay, we're going to get to this here in a
Keep
second.
going. I
Because,
interrupted you.
And so a little fun fact throughout my research, because there's not a lot of like big things that happened throughout the 50s and 60s. It's the 70s when Bigfoot takes off a little bit. And I was
makes sense.
I was telling you guys why he took off, you know. Media caught wind and they're like, how can we use Bigfoot to our advantage? And so, in the 1970s, the media started to portray Bigfoot as a sexual predator.
Oh, that's why you went around in the woods right there.
Yeah. Stalking you, just always, like, making weird sounds.
That makes
That's
you want
not
to hike
creepy.
everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
I don't have, like, you can't find anything to really, like, there's no articles really out there, like, article titled Bigfoot molests woman after breaking into her house or anything like that. But, I mean, that's what I found, and I like it, so we're gonna roll with it, okay? Thought it was, not gonna say it was funny, that's kind of mean, but it was funny. But then, you know, that's really it. I mean, after that, I think in the 80s, it's starting to lighten, that's when it really started to lighten up about Bigfoot. There's this Bigfoot movie, and just to run through it real quick, basically this guy hits a Bigfoot with this car. So the family take the Bigfoot back to their house, lock him in the basement. The Bigfoot fucking breaks out. It goes on a small rampage, but then him and the family all, like, start becoming friends and stuff, and then it just
This
just
sounds like Harry and the Hendersons, but a movie.
that is exactly what it is. It's
Yeah.
Harry and the Hendersons.
Yeah, that's just the whole show, though, because they made that later, right? As a
I
show?
don't remember.
I think.
I heard it in another podcast. They actually reviewed the movie,
Yeah.
but I was like not listening. It wasn't that interesting.
I don't know.
But around that time, like finally people started like, Bigfoot's not a sexual predator. Nothing to worry about.
He lives with a family. you
Yeah,
know?
he made friends with all these people.
Yeah.
But yeah, so after that, you know, he just blew up. He's been super popular icon. Like, you see, they got him printed on clothing, stickers, toys, you name it. But so, you guys didn't find any, like, particular evidence, right?
Not crazy.
No
evidence.
story that really stuck out to you?
No, I mean there's a lot of stories that were like, oh hey, but then scientists went back later and were like, no, there's no way.
So I got a few. We'll just talk about them off the top of my head.
Mm.
So I showed you guys a video like a couple weeks ago of the Bigfoot ripping bark off of the tree.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty decent because it's
That
like
was
not a
pretty
dead
strange.
tree, and like trying to rip bark off a non-dead tree, it's not the easiest.
Yeah.
And you know, obviously it's grainy footage, fucking guy runs away, doesn't stay, so you know, it's a little sus, but
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah.
But then there was this other one that I heard about listening to another podcast. Apparently there's this big forest fire. Like, they send people in to go fix it, and this guy was talking about how he was like part of this like rescue mission and stuff, and like he got taken over to like this certain area, and these government people like showed him the Bigfoot and stuff, and there's like one Bigfoot who was hella burnt. It's kind of a really out there story. I think it's fake, but I think it's kind of like a fun story.
Yeah.
But then let's talk about the Patterson-Gimlin film real quick. Patterson-Gimlin film. Let me pull it up for you guys, just to give you a reminder. But basically, this guy Patterson and his buddy Gimlin, I don't even know if I'm saying that right, but they go into this forest to shoot some stuff, like get some test shots for a movie, because Patterson is like this film, wants to be a big film guy. And so as they're going through, they see a Bigfoot. Horses get spooked. Patterson guy whips out his phone or his camera and records this video of this Bigfoot right here.
Yeah.
And side note, look at the titties on this Bigfoot, bro. You see that shit right there?
I thought that was just fur, but now that
Yeah.
you pointed it out, it's like,
No, that's
dang,
like
bro.
the unanimous thing people think are like, fucking titties on a Bigfoot, bro. How is it fake?
Yeah.
But I mean, this is what everybody totes is like the biggest.
That's
Bigfoot
the one with
evidence.
the shot. That's the like silhouette that most people use for.
Yeah,
for
no,
Bigfoot
that is
stuff.
like
That's like the thing they would use for toys or statues or anything.
Yeah,
like
or
that.
stickers or like a
or any
logo.
shirts or on the
Yeah, but this happened like in the '60s, and I mean, it's been debated over and over, and people are like, "Oh, the neck turned. How they turn the neck? How it's not like when Batman in Batman like old movies, he has to do like the full body turn because the neck piece didn't move.
Yeah.
So people say the neck because it moves, and then the shoulders follow a little bit, not just one solid motion to the side.
Yeah.
That's what people attribute like the main thing to why it's real, and then the titties. Because why would you make a Bigfoot costume and put titties on it?
Yeah. Oh well. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean that's the
There's
big
probably
thing.
some whack people in the '60s that would have gotten a kick out of that.
Yeah.
But hey.
It was the '70s, but close enough, you know. But yeah, so I mean that's pretty much it. Like everybody knows, you don't really need to cover much.
Bigfoot's pretty.
But then we go to Bigfoot's competitor, the man, the myth, the legend, the future seer himself, the Mothman. Now, the alleged first sighting of the Mothman was back in the 60s, and it was reported by a gravedigger. He said that he saw, while he was doing his shift in the graveyard, saw a man jump from tree to tree in like big jumps. And then a few days after this event, there are these two couples going down this highway. And this all takes place.
Yeah.
in Virginia.
Mothman flies down.
Yeah,
Yeah,
falls
this is the one
flies
that I've
down.
heard of. Yeah.
Yeah, this is like the big, like, first fucking sighting. This is what everybody, like, attributes to the first real sighting. So he flies down, the couples are driving, they see this creature with these big red eyes just going down the, like, following behind him. Eventually he stops, they speed away, they go to the sheriff goes to check him out. Nothing
happens after that. Yeah,
But then the story gets reported to the local newspaper, blows up all throughout town.
Yeah, and then a bunch of people are like, "Yo, I've seen this thing, and I've seen it, and I've seen it."
And then it just blows up. Everybody is seeing the Mothman at this point.
Yeah.
Blah blah blah. And then this is like one of the biggest like attributes to the Mothman is that he was a premonition or there to warn the people about the Silver Bridge collapse. Because not long after the Mothman original sightings, the Silver Bridge in, what was it called? Point Pleasant. The Point Pleasant, the Silver Bridge collapsed. 46 people died. Very tragic event. But people say that Mothman was like a warning, like he came to warn the people about
Well,
it.
yeah.
Wasn't it also that
thought
he's there, too?
The cause of it?
Yeah, I mean, it's debated. People say Mothman caused it, that he was there to warn it, that he was there the day it happened, and all this stuff. There's no real evidence to prove he was there.
I think that they did the whole, it was his fault, and then they found that that bolt was missing from the bridge. And that's when they started to think that he was more of a premonition from that.
Yeah.
And that's why he's more celebrated as that. And he has that whole museum and everything there.
Yeah.
I hate that so much. Okay, have you seen the statue in Point Pleasant for Mothman?
Yeah.
It is nothing at all of how people actually describe him. Like, he is jacked, bro. He's got fucking, like, a 10-pack. He's got pecs. He's got these butterfly wings. He's got this weird alien creature head.
Yeah.
He's got the red eyes, which is cool.
Everyone says that
Gotta
it's
sell
like a
the idea
skinny with,
somehow.
like, bird wings, right? It's like some sort
Yeah,
of, like...
no. Like, he's supposed to be, like, a bigger body with these big wings, like, kind of like an owl-looking face.
Yeah.
But, I mean, then after this, you know, he really died down. There weren't a lot of sightings. Now, there were sightings here and there on these tragic events. Obviously, some people report seeing him at the 9/11 bombings, which I believe there's a picture out on the internet, but it's really just...
I mean,
it's a stretch.
Yeah.
It's a stretch to say it's Mothman. Then there was this nuclear power plant explosion. Chernobyl.
Yeah.
They say he was there, which, again, there's no real evidence besides...
That's pretty far from Point Pleasant. That's like
Exactly.
another country.
But, I mean, you just have to go off people's word there. And there was, like, another niche one. These miners were going into their mine to do the daily thing, to go out and mine whatever the fuck they were mining. They say that they saw this big, red-eyed, owl-looking creature standing in the entryway to the mine. Scared them off. Later on, the mine collapsed. Nobody was hurt as far as I could find. But, yeah. But recently, Mothman has been popping off a little bit.
Well, you did say there was that movie. I mean, we've already talked
The
about
Mothman
Bigfoot
Legacies.
movie. Yeah.
It basically has nothing to do with Mothman, except for it takes place in Point Pleasant, and I think they just tied it into Mothman because he has like shows up to warn people and stuff, and so it's supposed to be like prophecies, Mothman prophecies, hence the name.
Okay.
But it just has a lot of nothing to do with Mothman. Like, you don't see Mothman. You might see him one time in the entire movie. Going back to the popping off point, recently in Chicago, I think the last big report was in 2018, there are a lot of reports of Mothman sightings. And not just, like, Mothman, just a lot of flying creatures. People are just throwing the name Mothman out there. Because, you know, you see a humanoid flying creature, if you're into cryptozoology or just know a little bit, you go to Mothman. But, I mean, there's also, like, gargoyles and just other flying cryptids and stuff.
Yeah, like the Jersey Devil and stuff like that.
Yeah. So, I mean, people are saying Mothman, but it's just kind of a loose connection there.
Yeah. Well, what's up with Chicago right now? Why are there so many things flying in
Apparently
Chicago?
something bad's about to go down if Mothman's there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, as far as evidence goes, there's this really big picture that floats around on the internet of the Silver Bridge and something looking like it's falling off the Silver Bridge. I've always been a little sus of the photo, so I did a lot of research. into the photo. A lot of problems. One, it's not the Silver Bridge. Two, the photo is time-stamped because it's on like an old camera that has the orange timestamps on them.
Yeah.
It's time-stamped to 2003. And this is supposedly supposed to be at the Silver Bridge during the collapse. So, boom. Then if you look in the photo, the piece that's falling off that is Mothman, it's just like this piece on like the, what is it called? The pole.
The support for the bridge?
The support, yeah. It's just a part of the support beam. You can see the other support beams have them, and it's just falling off. It looks like it's just one of the things falling off.
Mm.
And so, I mean, nothing. That's totally garbage. People say it is, but it's not. Easily debunked.
Mm.
But I found two good pieces of evidence locally, or recently. There was this, supposedly this was a hunter who had recently moved to Point Pleasant. Let me see. This was around 2016, and it's just a picture of this humanoid creature with wings jumping from tree to tree. Very similar to the first the first sighting that they can attribute.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, that's really all like the most recent evidence. And I mean, I've seen the picture. I just showed you guys the picture. It's not bad. They say that they've shown it to like professional photography people that went through, did everything to see if it was faked, and they say it's not faked. But I mean, it could just be a guy in a suit jumping.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't think it is.
Some crazy arborist that was just like, yo, I'm felling trees and I'm jumping across them.
Exactly. I mean, they could have just cut out the rope, bro. He's just going from a thin wire, and it's a really shitty picture, too. Really grainy.
Kind of just brings you back to the Bigfoot picture that it's old, so it's probably going to be shitty. And it can
well, the shitty thing is, it's from, like, around 2016, which is like, come on, man.
Yeah,
Why
you don't have higher resolution on this? Yeah.
Like, there had to have been a decent iPhone out back then.
Back then, 4 years ago, 5 years ago.
So it's decent photos.
Like the iPhone
should
6 or something like that, or the iPhone 7 is coming out.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Or at least they could have had a good Samsung or something. So unless this hunter is like, had his Polaroid camera from the 60s. Here we go back to the 60s. But, I mean, like, come on. Take a better photo than this. It looks as shitty as the Patterson-Gimlin film.
Yeah.
Like, it's ridiculous. But there was a good story I heard. And I actually have a good... never mind, I'm going to save what I'm about to say for the end when we talk whether or not we believe. But there is a good story that around the same time of this Mothman stuff happening, about 40 miles down the hill from Point Pleasant, this guy who lived, like, on, like, a road right next to, like, a forest, so his backyard was, like, against the forest. It was just him and his dog living in this house. He's just doing his thing on like a Sunday night. I don't know what day it was. But he was just watching TV with his dog. Then the TV starts to get like all staticky and blurry and stuff. And he's like, what the hell's going on? Checks out the TV, walks over to it. Dog starts acting really weird. Goes up to the glass sliding door. Guy's like, what the fuck's going on with the dog? Looks out into the forest. In the forest, he can see the outline of a figure, like a humanoid figure, big, with red eyes. And so he's like, what the fuck? Goes, I think he grabs like a bat, opens the door, dog just bolts out into the forest. Thing disappears. I think he hears like a whine from the dog, and he's like, I'm not fucking going out there. Closes the door, probably calls the cops. I think he does call the cops. They go out, don't find anything, don't find the dog. Goes to bed. He checks the next day, can't find the dog.
Yeah, that's the other thing I heard, is that there's a few dog disappearances attributed to this guy, too.
Yeah, it's weird, because a lot of the time what I've noticed, like, through all the stories of cryptids and the research I've done, animals, like, trip out cryptids. They just stop moving. They don't want to do anything. They don't want to go anywhere. They just want to stay. So this is what tripped me out, because the dog just bolts.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, I don't know, some strange shit, obviously.
Yeah.
And so, like, a week later, these people driving down this other road, I think it's like a few miles up ahead, they see a dog just lying on the side of the road. Doesn't look like it's all covered in blood or anything, but it's just laying there. So they think it's weird. They go a little further, find a spot to turn around, come back, gone. Now reportedly, or apparently, the dog matched the description of the dude's dog who disappeared. So, I mean, that was just a little weird. I thought it was a decent story, at least. Whether or not it's true is kind of up in the air.
Yeah, you're like, it's interesting enough already.
Yeah, it's another one of those word of mouth where it's hard to tell when you're just reading it. I imagine if you talk to the guy, you might be able to gauge better whether or not
It's kind of just a he said, she said type of situation where you're just hearing it. So
It's because there's multiple accounts that all have to do with it, like the people in the car and the guy himself and the police if they're accounting the same thing. Like that's what gives it its credibility, at least whatever it has.
I mean, without the pictures, it's kind of hard to just go in on this stuff. But with all the evidence, history, and stuff out of the way for these cryptids, let's talk some stats. Andrew, why don't you read us the Bigfoot stats? Break it down for us.
All right, our Bigfoot abilities here. For some reason, Bigfoot is really prone to whistling. I don't know why.
Fuck you, I took that out, god damn it.
It's on here.
What?
It literally first one, whistling.
I took out everything but the whistling.
I don't know.
Hey,
I mean,
maybe Mothman has sense of hearing.
That's what makes him prone to knowing when things are going to break, bro. He could hear the bridge was going to snap, and he was like, all right, I'm here. No.
Here's a plane coming from...
Anyway, this guy can whistle like your uncle after the dog ran away. Like, this guy's got the...
All right, fuck you. Go to the next ability.
All right, he's got apparently 40-mile-an-hour running speed, which is crazy.
No, that's fucking insane.
That's insane.
I've come across that, obviously, since these are the stats I gathered and abilities. And feel free to add your own, but from what I've heard, and let me just I'll plug it into the description when I'm going through uploading all this stuff, but check out the BFRO if you haven't. The Bigfoot Field Research Organization.
I went to that website, yeah.
They catalog everything, and they have like specific pages on breaking down all this Bigfoot stuff. That's where I got a lot of like the description when you go down to read the other abilities we'll get to.
Yeah.
That was one of the things. They say their average moving speed for a Bigfoot, I would imagine in like his natural environment or just on an empty plain stretch, it's about 40 miles an hour.
Well, I mean, if he's not getting, if he's so elusive, he's got to be able to run fast.
Yeah, no, he's got to be a quick boy.
You got to be like, hey, even if I'm on a car on this thing, like, oh man, it's hard to get through the woods. Oh shit, we lost him. Like, damn, bro, that guy flies. So that makes sense. I mean, if he said 150, I'd be like, wow,
you're crazy.
Yeah, you're actually
Bigfoot
crazy.
could move 150 miles an hour.
Not sure he'd even be Bigfoot anymore, but
yeah.
All right, so we got extreme strength.
Tap into the speed force.
Extreme strength is the next one. I mean, that makes a lot of sense. This guy's pretty bulky. He looks like he could snap my neck and easily, like probably just tear my head off.
And later on, there is a buddy I want to have on here, and he will tell us his friend's Bigfoot story, and in the story, I'm not going to tell it because it's his story. Obviously he's going to tell it better than I do. But there is an involvement with Bigfoot throwing an object through something, and the amount of strength he'd have to throw this object through this other object, it's just crazy.
I mean, apparently he's able to throw up to 450 pounds, which is already like, I mean, the strongest guy I know.
That's right from BFRO, bro.
So, yeah.
Talk to them if you disagree.
I mean, I'm just saying.
He's
this
a
guy,
woodsman, bro. He lives out in the woods.
It would make sense.
It just makes sense. I mean, this guy could probably punch me.
He's pure muscle, bro. You
like
could grade you could grade cheese off of this man's abs, bro.
Yeah, if you get under all the hair.
Yeah, you just give him a little shave, bro.
All right, cool. We got small tool usage, so this guy can. I mean, obviously, we've all heard reports of the banging things,
the
on
tree
other
knocking.
things, and making
we haven't
sounds.
touched up on it because I don't really think tree knocking would do much. This is a 1v1.
People chop trees as well, so it's not the craziest thing.
Yeah.
But then again,
but I mean, for them to be knowledgeable enough to use it as like apparently a way to like keep communication shows a certain level of intelligence.
Yeah, and I mean it stands to reason that if you've got opposable thumbs, this guy's knocking some stuff.
Yeah, I mean, he's already at the advantage.
He's got the ability to start.
Now, we're not saying he's out here starting any fires like a caveman, but knows how to bang sticks, throw rocks.
Yeah,
that's small levels of tools.
Yeah, I mean, if this guy's evolved beyond a monkey, he probably knows how to do that.
Don't say that word. We're not trying to trigger anything here.
Its average height and weight 7'10" and 650 pounds. That makes sense. I mean, 650 is pretty big, but I mean,
it's also muscle.
Yeah, 7'10" makes sense.
You know what they say about muscle? It weighs more than fat, apparently.
I wouldn't know anything about that.
Of course not. But no, I mean, the 7'10" thing makes sense. People always tote about how he's taller than this guy who's like 6 foot whatever. And then, like I said, they're just averages. So, I mean, it can always vary, but...
I mean,
That's what we're
he's got to
rolling
be
with.
at least 7 foot to match any image that you see.
Yeah.
Right? All right, and then we got our stats here. We got the breakdown. This is a scale of 1 to 10 on all of our stats.
1 being squirrel level, and 10 being gorilla level.
Yeah.
Just so everybody understands the scale we're going with here.
All right, so our
I
intelligence.
don't know how that's going to work for intelligence, though.
Yeah.
Listen, we didn't think this through too well.
Yeah, all right. So intelligence, we've got 5. So this guy's obviously
Not the biggest
Not the-
brain.
not
Yeah,
the smart-
he's like an
I feel like-
average animal
I feel like a
intelligence.
10 could probably just be human intelligence. Like, I mean,
I
what
think
do we-
10 is, really just human intelligence.
Like, yeah, we've pretty much peaked ourselves, so, I mean, intelligence 5, that makes sense. This guy's using tools, but like we said earlier, he's not making any fires
he's
or
not
anything.
talking.
He's not,
He's not like, yo, what's up, my guy?
Yeah,
How's
it's
it
more-
going?
yeah,
Booga,
cognitive.
You got some
Yeah.
coffee. You got some sugar I can borrow.
Yeah, hey, like, listen, man, you're not, yeah. So anyway, average intelligence, we're going on to power next. We got a 10 for power. Obviously, that makes sense. This guy's got the 450 throw strength. I think we're
650
definitely-
pounds of pure
definitely
muscle.
gorilla strength at least.
Oh,
yeah. We got, is that defense?
Yeah, that's defense.
All right, defense, we got a 7. I mean, this guy's got bulk already, so.
Yeah, and I was thinking about it, he's got the fur, and that adds like a certain layer
Yeah,
of protection.
I mean, the same thing
as
as what carpet's doing. You're giving yourself a little bit of bounce. Yeah,
Yeah.
I got you. So that makes sense. I mean, you light this guy on fire, he's going down pretty quick. But,
well. Good thing Mothman doesn't carry a fucking flamethrower.
yeah, well, yeah, he's not a dragon, he can't breathe fire or anything.
Mobility.
All right, so we got average mobility.
I think.
But I feel like you could give this
I
guy
don't
a
know,
little
I
bit
think-
more mobility, especially in his home habitat.
yeah.
Like, this guy seems like
I
not the
think we
kind to
could bump
swing
it
from
up to like
trees.
what? He's not swinging from trees.
But I mean, he's running through forest pretty
Yeah.
quick. At 40 miles an hour,
Yeah,
he
True,
got
40
some
miles
pretty
an
good
hour.
mobility.
You
Okay.
gotta be able to move.
I
through
say
the
what?
trees.
We bump it up to like what? A 7?
Yeah, a 7 seems good.
All right, Bigfoot. Congratulations. You got yourself a 7.
Yay!
All right. Yeah, it just seemed. I mean, that just seems about right. You know. We got our health here. He's got an 8 for health. I mean,
And this one was kind of hard to gauge. So when I thought about it, I took in just basically body size and a little bit from power or defense.
I mean, you could also say it's stamina too. If he's got the ability to run this fast, and he's got the ability to throw all this. I mean, he's got to have some good.
Yeah.
You know, he's got to be healthy. He's not like, you know, smoking a pack a day and then just lifting 450 pounds. You know.
Yeah, no.
I don't.
I mean, I gave him an 8. He's kind of a tank. I mean,
Uh,
Bigfoot is
he's-
like
He
he's a
seems like
monster.
he seems like a powerhouse. Like
Yeah.
he's definitely got the big boy advantage here. And then stealth, he's got a 9. I don't know what this 9
I don't
is
know
for.
what-
Stealth is extremely hard to gauge with this kind of stuff.
Well, I would
Here's how
already give
I gauge
Mothman a
it.
higher stealth because his sightings are less in general. Like,
Well, yeah, but here's the thing is with that, I mean, he's just not popping up everywhere like Bigfoot. Bigfoot thing, here's how I gauge the stealth.
Alright.
I gauge it as people see Bigfoot, and then he's gone. You see him, and he's just gone. In like the blink of an eye. That's how I tried to gauge
I
it.
mean, the film was like they saw them and then they
The
took a
credibility
photo.
of the film is
Yeah.
up for debate as
But
it
there's
is.
also, I mean, quite a
But
few
here's
of the
the thing.
videos you see. It's
The
also
videos-
like they're doing an action, and so you're just like sitting behind them, seeing it do an action, and so it's like that. How's the stealth relate to that? I mean, that could also just be them perceiving you. But
Okay.
I mean,
I get your point. I was the only one to write down these stats, so we're kind of
well,
all
that's
just
what
going
the,
through
That's
them.
what the point of this is. You know,
So what would you guys give Bigfoot for stealth?
I'd give Bigfoot like a 6 stealth. Like this guy is not
Yeah.
the sneakiest, but he's stayed uncaptured. So.
I'd still give him like a 7, a little bit above that, but he's been seen a lot more than Mothman at this point.
Nobody can see it, but I'm doing air quotes in the scene, but we'll talk about that later on. But yeah, I mean, my big thing for Bigfoot when it comes to stealth is, one is mobility, plays a factor in disappearing. But I mean, like I said, there are the films where, you know, you see him and he does his own thing and then the film ends. But when it comes to the Patterson-Gimlins, since we want to bring that one up, obviously they got him on film, walking, strolling, her walking and strolling, and then it disappears. More of the story, they try and go find it, try and follow any tracks, and it's gone. I'll touch on it later, but there's some theories as to why they disappear. one major theory, which is, in my opinion, completely fucking ridiculous.
What if they just climb trees?
I had on their climb, but I took it off because I was like, this is kind of dumb.
I mean, that just makes the most sense, right? I mean, it's like you see someone walking through the woods, you start chase after it. All it has to do is go like 3 feet, climb the tree like hella quick, like a spider monkey or something, and then you're like, oh, because you're looking around down here.
Yeah, that's fair.
Whatever.
Yeah, so what? I'm pretty sure that
that
all I
averages
have
to like
left
7,
my,
right? We're giving this guy 7 for stealth. All right. Yeah.
And I think my work set is all that's left.
Yeah.
So
that's our Bigfoot stats. So
we move on to Mothman. You want to take the reins, Roger?
Sure, I'll take it.
Fuck, what did I click? Oh, look at that. I did 2 tabs for Mothman evidence. Interesting.
I thought you had 2 tabs for Bigfoot evidence too, right?
No.
Oh.
It was the same story, but one was just a link, and then the other one is like breaking down like what I read.
Yeah.
But hit us with the stats and abilities.
Alright, so we're going to start with abilities here for Mothman. He's got the flight, obviously.
I mean, he's
You
got
know,
wings.
I mean, I
You're
thought I
guessing
just
this
put it
guy's
on there
got
because it's
flight.
something Bigfoot doesn't have, but yeah, I mean, that one's obvious.
I mean, yeah.
Well,
I mean, you could have gliding because he's jumping from tree
that
to
was
tree.
the thing. The 2, like, the first one and then, like, the most recent piece of evidence is he's jumping from tree to tree. So it's like, why would you need to jump if you can fly? We'll keep it on. Maybe I'll go in later and do flying/gliding. But I think we'll give him the benefit of the doubt for now and just say flying.
I mean, he's gotten some pretty high places if he really was on top of that bridge.
And it goes back to one of the Chicago sightings. One of the big sightings is this Mothman creature flying alongside a plane.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the initial famous one is he's flying behind the car. So,
Yeah.
I mean, flight seems... at least gliding is reasonable.
Gliding, bare minimum. Flying, we'll give it to him.
Yeah.
It's almost like he'll need it.
Yeah.
He's also got the future sight, obviously. Since he's seen all this stuff,
Yeah.
it just makes sense.
I mean, he shows up to these tragic events, supposedly. And, obviously he's showing up to a tragic event. Bad shit's happening. Those seem to be the prime times. And I mean, it's also Chicago. Bad shit's happening there like 24/7. It's a mess.
Unless he's there to like incriminate the deep dish pizza or something like that, but I doubt it. So I'm thinking we've got premonitions down. I mean, he knows where bad things happen.
Yeah.
This one didn't make sense, but after hearing the other story, it kind of makes more sense. The radio wave distribution.
Yeah. So I mean, I was on the fence with that one. I was talking to a buddy of mine about work. Devin, shout out to you. Hella big on Cryptid. We'll get you on the pod eventually. But, I mean, he really brought it up, too. He started talking about it. Because I thought it was just, like, this one-off thing. But he was telling me about it. So I was like, okay, if he knows about it, then... And then the story. So I was like, we'll throw it.
I thought that was the whole thing with the initial big one, too. Wasn't it in the car the radio was going wild? While they were driving? It seems to remember something like that, yeah.
So, we throw him that one. Just to... keep the ability
it's not like he's got an EMP in his pocket or anything like that. But this guy's got the ability
he's got
to
some weird telepathic
shit
shit going on.
Yeah.
Then obviously he has the talons.
I mean,
so I was on the fence about the talons. By the description, talking about how he looks like an owl bird creature, I threw him talons because I was like, he needs something. Because I mean, I just don't see a Mothman with like 2 regular human feet and just 2 hands.
It makes more sense. At least having
talons just makes sense. Yeah,
and it just makes biological sense too.
I mean, what about Mothman makes biological sense?
I'm just trying to rationalize it a little bit.
It makes more sense for Mothman to have talons and then just because then he's just like a weird like
he's just
demon
got
angel
stubs,
creature
bro.
or something.
He's
like
just
that.
got stubs,
or he's got goat legs or something like that.
Oh
He's
god,
some
that's
weird
terrible.
mythical creature.
Got some hoofs.
Yeah,
and I think that's the end of the abilities, right?
Yeah.
So since we did cover Bigfoot height and weight and that stuff, I mean, let's just guesstimate because Mothman doesn't have its.
I mean, Mothman seems shorter in general.
BRO or MRO or fucking whatever the Mothman
he's not. Yeah, I mean, he's probably somewhere between.
Everyone kind of describes him being big, so I wouldn't say he's like.
But no one's like,
7'10".
yo, he's Slenderman out here. Like,
I would say he's probably around would be like 6'5" would be a good guess.
Yeah, I was going to say somewhere between
was
5'10" and like 6'9" or something like that. He's got to be some taller human male size,
But yeah, I mean,
As for build, he's probably just kind of slim, I would think.
I mean, he could go into wingspan too, just be like, oh, but I mean,
that was another big thing. I mean, so we'll get into this when we debate Mothman, but we'll touch on it a little here. Like birds, so they got to have their hollow wings to fly.
Well, their bones are hollow.
Sorry, bones is what I meant to say.
Yeah.
And so you would think, unless Mothman has these gigantic fucking wings, he's gonna have to have hollowed out bones.
Well, yeah, but
Unless
I mean,
there's
in
this
general,
realm of magic and shit that's going on to affect him, you would think he'd have to have at least, maybe not completely hollow, but some really light bones to be able to fly. Unless the wings are just ginormous.
yeah, I mean, if you do studies on like humans having wings in general, they'd have to be big anyway, just to be able to lift us up. But
Yeah. But I mean, then it could come to the gliding thing. Maybe he can't fly because he doesn't have
Because
hollowed out
he's-
bones.
yeah,
so he
because
has to
he's
rely
heavier.
on gliding.
yeah, that would make sense.
But we'll touch more on that when we get to the fight itself. So let's hit out the last of this, so we can get to the main event.
Right, yeah.
Alright, stats, starting with intelligence, he has a 7. Makes more sense. He does seem a little smarter.
So when I was
around
throwing him a little bit of a bone here because I thought he's got the future sight, he's got understanding of these tragic events, so he's obviously got to have some kind of intelligence.
I mean, if he has the telekinetic ability to disrupt radio waves, I think
I
he's
was-
got
I was
some
about
sort
to
of
say,
higher brain
yeah.
power than
okay,
our.
so are you
than
guys
our-
thinking maybe we bump him up to an 8 then? Because it's hard
I
to
don't
really
know.
gauge his intelligence because
I say 8 just because if we did baseline 5 for Bigfoot, I feel like Mothman's definitely got a higher like this guy's a humanoid person almost with
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
creature features.
He does seem to communicate a little better with the humans, not like talking to them, but
yeah,
saying stuff that's
Yeah.
like, yeah.
and just understanding like what and who they are.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to the next one.
Power is 7. I don't know if I would.
So I
give
was.
him a
Here's
7.
the thing. I included the talons to give him a buff in the power department. We can lower the
Talons
general
is more
power.
like grappling. I feel like it's more like grabbing on something, gripping it,
Yeah.
and taking it with you. Power wise,
But,
I'm
but
thinking
yeah,
this guy's like
I said,
5.
I was throwing a bone. I don't know if he's a
think it's more
5.
of a 6.
I think I would go down to a 6, just because if he's got the regular slim human build, he's got to have some muscle. If he's flying, or gliding even, he's got to have some good muscle on him. But I mean, there's no he's not picking up cars as he's flying or doing all this stuff or literally ripping bridges apart.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's really no way to scale his strength, and especially if he's got the hollowed bones,
Yeah.
he's not
How's
going
that
to be
gonna
very
work out?
strong.
Yeah. How's that going to work out fighting wise? Yeah.
Yeah. So we can drop him down to a 6, I think would be right.
Defense is also a 6.
I mean, he's
I
got
gave
wings.
him-
That makes
he's
I
got
gave him the
wings.
defense because of the wings and the feathers. Give him a little bit more defense, but once again, we jump back to the hollow bones.
Yeah.
I feel like he has the defense in like air scenarios, but if Bigfoot were to
Well, we're not going on to the fight
Let's
yet.
not jump the
Let's
gun.
chill out. Let's chill
We
out.
will definitely.
I'm
be
just saying.
covering
I'm
that
just
in the
saying.
fight.
Wings are a good defense in general. Like you could shield yourself with them.
Yeah.
You can use them to pull them in as a strike happens. It's, I mean, this guy's got what we said 8 intelligence now.
And
This
what
guy's-
defense did Bigfoot have? Like an 8,
He had like a 7 or 8.
7 or
something
8.
like
So
that.
yeah, I think 6 was it for
I
Mothman.
think-
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the 6 is fair,
Yeah.
especially comparing him to Bigfoot.
Mobility is also 8.
I mean, mobility makes sense.
Yeah.
This guy's at least
He's
gliding.
flying.
Yeah.
He's gliding at least. I mean, he controls a domain that Bigfoot has no part of, the air.
Yeah.
And then we don't know if Bigfoot's actually climbing trees out here, and this guy's obviously
Yeah.
fucking jumping through trees. So
Yeah.
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 So, I mean, his mobility. And another thing with Bigfoot is he's going to have that high mobility, but not in all environments.
Yeah.
Mothman is going to have this high
Wait,
mobility.
wait, we're getting into the fight already.
No. I'm just saying,
No.
Mothman, no matter where he
Yeah,
is,
yeah,
is
we're
going to
just talking.
have, good mobility, so
Yeah.
he gets...
Unless
that's why
it's
I
indoors.
attributed. Well, yeah, if he's in a house, he ain't going to be flying unless you got a mansion or
all
something.
right. But we all agree he's got pretty solid mobility.
For sure.
HP's 5. This just makes sense. He's not more of a tanky.
I don't know. If you go back to the bird things with hollow bones, then you bring in the fact that the hollow bones are for pumping more oxygen through their blood quick. So, I mean, this guy could have some pretty high HP. That's all I'm saying. He could have some really high health.
Okay, biologist Andrew.
I'm just
What's
saying
your
I've heard
number
a few
gauge?
things.
What's your number gauge?
Maybe
for
like
that?
a 7 or something like that.
A 7?
Yeah.
So,
I mean, this
What about
guy
Bigfoot?
obviously can.
Bigfoot was like an 8?
Bigfoot was
Or
like
a
at
9?
an 8 or 9. Yeah.
So you're saying 7, huh?
I think he was at the 8, so I feel like
I don't know if I
I
would
think-
put him just like one slot below Bigfoot, though.
I feel like I would.
I don't know. I think
Just
I'd
'cause
bump
I
it
feel
up
like-
maybe to like a 6. That would make sense. But he's not. The thing is that I don't think he's like a Bigfoot level of HP like that.
He's not a tank, but I mean, this guy's flying. Like,
He's flying, but
Okay, we'll give him a 7. We'll give him a 7. We'll be nice.
stealth is an 8.
Yeah.
yeah, stealth's gotta be. I would almost even bump it up to 9, just because this guy can seemingly disappear. So this guy's
Yeah, no,
got the
that's
ability
fair.
to just vanish.
I could get
But I
that.
feel like
mean,
most of the sightings of him are kind of just at night. I mean, I know there's like a one sighting with the guy that's seen him on like his roof or whatever during like midday, but usually all the sightings are at night, so that's why he's
That's
more
true.
of
That's
like.
true. But I mean,
you
if
know,
he is getting sighted at night, that means that he travels at night already. So that just bumps up his stealth even more, right? I mean, he only travels at night.
yeah. Although I feel like him traveling at night is more of like an intelligence
Yeah,
thing,
that's what I
choosing
was
to
gonna
travel
say,
at
too.
night instead of the day.
But the intelligence to travel at night boosts your stealth. I mean, he's a stealthy guy because he.
What did we give Bigfoot? Didn't we knock Bigfoot down in stealth?
I think we give him a
6.
A 6? Then I think an 8 is fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, and I think that should cover it, right? No more. I
Yeah,
think all that's
that's-
left is my works cited stuff.
Yeah.
All right then, boys. Let's hop into the main event, the big talking point of the show.
All right.
Let's debate who we think would win. But before we hop into that, let's talk environment. We need to come up with a fair fighting environment for the two.
Is it realistic, or are we talking just fair? Like,
Just fair.
all right.
I mean, obviously, we have a created arena, and we can design it however we want for these battles.
All right.
So we want to create a fair arena. It doesn't have to be like this battle takes place in Wyoming, in the
Yeah.
small little town of whatever Wyoming has.
Yeah. I even forgot Wyoming was a state there for a second. Yeah.
So did I. I don't know where that came from.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, so it can be anything. We're just trying to keep it even. So the best for Bigfoot, obviously, a forest.
Forest, yeah.
Yeah.
Mothman, it's kind of a tough one.
I feel like he's kind of good in any area. I just
Like I said, indoors this is where he really lacks. But
Yeah.
overall, he's got anywhere with open skies. He's pretty good to go.
Yeah. So what are we thinking? Like,
I would say not like a very dense forest, more of like there's trees around, but
Maybe
It's
like
still
a
open.
savanna or something like that. A little open. There's a lot of tall grass, easy to, but open air. There's
I guess
a
I can-
few
I can kinda
trees
see
spotty.
that.
you
I
know.
can see that.
yeah. Okay, so we'll go with the savannah. Now, let's talk big talk. Obviously, we've talked about this beforehand, enough to the point where we have already all made up our minds.
I mean,
And from
it
now on,
seems
we'll
pretty
try
close.
and not do that, just so we can have some fresh debate going in.
I mean,
And
first
obviously,
episode we
it'll
could do
change
that.
cryptid to cryptid, because after we talked about this a lot recently, it seemed to be a bit of an unfair matchup. And so we'll iron that out later on. And so,
I mean, the more we talked about it during the episode, though, I think the more I've started to respect Mothman for
Oh,
his
yeah.
prowess.
Yeah.
I obviously think that he's going to put up a better fight than I originally thought.
How I see it is that Mothman's more of kind of like a rogue-ish type thing, whereas Bigfoot would be more of a paladin.
Yeah, he's,
Oh,
he's
yeah.
kind of just a brawler, He's the guy that comes out swinging.
He's like a
Right.
paladin brawler mix. He's got the attack, he's got the defense.
Maybe maybe not paladin. There's nothing holy about this, but
Yeah.
Yeah, no, not really. I mean, it ties a bit into Native American religion and culture, but
Yeah.
not enough to call him a holy figure. I mean,
Yeah,
there's
I mean-
reports of him like attacking natives and stealing from them. So I don't think they think of him as a holy figure.
Yeah, but
So
we're
there's
saying
no-
basically he's a mix of a knight and a brawler. That's what
Yeah.
we're saying here, and yeah,
And so let's get down to brass tacks. I'm pretty sure we're all in agreement that Bigfoot will beat Mothman.
I think Bigfoot
Yeah.
at the end of the day still takes the victory.
For sure.
At least he takes most victories. If you look at him in different scenarios, I think Mothman could.
But in this,
pull something out.
this hypothetical that we've created, this arena that we've got here, the savannah's open, plains. It gives Mothman a good advantage. He could fly around. It's all great. But at the end of the day, his talons scratching him up. I mean, once he just grabs him, I mean, it seems to be over.
Yeah, I mean, once Bigfoot gets a grip on Mothman.
At the end of the day,
I mean, it's
it also depends on if Mothman can fly or if he can glide. If he can
that's
fly,
another thing.
If he can fly, then it's going to be a little harder for Bigfoot to do all this stuff. But if he can just glide, then there's certain points where
we also have to go over what the rules are for this fight. I mean, is it a time
no
fight?
No hold bars. It is going until somebody's dead.
Until somebody's dead? Then, I mean, Mothman, if he can fly, truly, maybe he just outlasts Bigfoot. Maybe Bigfoot just dies of starvation while Mothman's still flying
okay,
around.
obviously not. We're not going that far.
Okay, but I'm just saying, like, what are we?
So
got?
let's talk Mothman victories. How many scenarios do you think Mothman's winning here? The big one I can only think of really, well, two. He's got the talons. And these are both really attributing. I guess one, gliding could work. So we'll cover that one first. Flying or gliding, he goes in and he just swipes at Bigfoot with the talons. Keeps his distance so Bigfoot can't get him. And he's trying to keep that speed, keeping that aerial advantage to come, swipe him, poke him, and hope he bleeds out eventually.
Yeah, I mean, he's just wearing him down through sheer attrition at this point. He's trying to use the speed to his advantage, just flying. But then again, Bigfoot's got 40-mile-per-hour speed, so they might be at a speed tie here, but... Either way, it seems like the thing a bird would do to attack, we gotta like a larger
it's
animal.
more of 40-mile-per-hour, like, running. Reaction speed, I don't know if that would be the same thing like that.
I'm just talking evasion here, but, I mean, overall, it seems to be, like I said, a bird attacking a larger creature, something like that.
And then it brings me into my second scenario where he wins. He swoops down, catches Bigfoot off guard with his stealth. And we probably should have talked about whether this is day or night that this fight takes place. And I think...
Either way, in our arena, the savannah's got quite a lot. Like I said, it's got really tall grass. So it's pretty easy to sneak up on each other.
Yeah. So he swoops down, picks Bigfoot up, drops Bigfoot. Hoping that it breaks bones so Bigfoot can't move, drops his mobility. And then he can go back to the... Once again, just the scratching, cutting, poking... and just wear him down like that. Mm-hmm. And so then it goes back to Bigfoot. And here's the thing. Mothman does have the aerial advantage. But with Bigfoot's small tool usage and intelligence, easy fix. Find some rocks, find some sticks, chucks them at him.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I was going to come to next as well. Like, there's an easy counter to the flying, and it's just the fact that he has small tool usage there. He's got the ability to throw pretty hard. So, I mean, a well-timed shot, take out one of the wings, it's over for Mothman.
If something happens to the wings, I mean, he's done.
Yeah. Fly down.
Because then it's a chance. Then at that point, he's gonna have to fight Bigfoot hand to hand, and Bigfoot at the end of the day is just too strong.
Yeah, I mean, this hollow bone boy is getting his whole body crushed here. It's not.
He's about to get Loki smashed around.
Yeah, I mean, he's gonna get a train run.
And then it comes back to if he can't fly and he's gliding, if he doesn't get enough air from heading down to like go back up, I mean, he's gonna have to climb a tree or like try to outpace Bigfoot so he can get back to that height advantage, so he can have the high ground, if I will.
Yeah. And
so, I mean, if he just glides, he doesn't have that aerial advantage as much. He wouldn't be able to pick Bigfoot up and drop him. He would have to, like I said, if he doesn't get the right air and can't get back to a tree, he's going to have to escape Bigfoot to get back up.
I mean, attributing Bigfoot's strength here, him just jumping, I mean, at the point of a low glide is well-timed once again.
With that, even with the just grabbing Bigfoot, at this point, if he's grabbing Bigfoot now has him
in his hands.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So if he just grabs his legs, and we already know he's a buff boy, so he just has to crush the legs and then just go down on him.
Yeah.
Literally. Going down on Mothman.
I mean, one of Mothman's victories, so he said here, the grab, I mean, he goes down, grabs him, and then, oh no, it's too heavy. Like, uh-oh.
Oh, yeah. And if he's trying to pick him up, and if he's got his talons in there good, it's going to be hard to get him out.
Yeah.
And Bigfoot's a tanky boy. He's getting those talons in there. He's reaching for the legs.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
if they're both dropping, Bigfoot's more likely to survive the fall.
yeah.
All Bigfoot would have to do was just land right on him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Then
Yeah, all he has to
the
do is
table
grab the
turns,
legs, put it under his chest,
fucking
and
bones
just,
turn
like,
out from
use him as
Mothman.
impact fodder, you know?
Exactly. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, Bigfoot, he just takes the cake way more times than Mothman. And another thing with the going down and just scratching him, if he goes down for the front, another easy dub for Bigfoot. He's coming right at him, just easy, just grab for Bigfoot. He's going to have to aim for the back or the head.
I mean, most of his wins here are either aerial, Mothman's wins, are either aerial or stealth-based. I mean, he could use his high stealth in this tall grass, try and do something similar to the aerial stuff, but I mean, once again, Bigfoot's just got such an overpowered advantage here.
And then him being on the ground, that's Bigfoot's territory. Even in the tall grass, Bigfoot is just...
Yeah, I mean, Bigfoot's moving 40 miles an hour once again, so this guy's getting chased down for sure. You know, I'm not even attesting to smell or anything like that, you know.
The smell.
Yeah, like if Bigfoot can sniff him out while he's around him or something like that. I mean, it's not like Bigfoot just takes a shit on him or something like that, but...
I mean, Bigfoots are known to have really bad odor. So, I mean, maybe that makes
I mean,
Mothman,
but that's not
like,
helping Mothman too much.
a little, like, delusional and stuff. But, yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's pretty unanimous. Bigfoot takes the cake on our first cryptid versus cryptid fight.
The only other way I give Mothman the win is if he somehow enhances this weird mind radio stuff to mess with the brain. But that's
and even then, I mean, that's more of a
stretch.
tech-based ability. And now, there is one thing that I excluded from the Mothman. And apparently he's got an ability to make people anxious and afraid. But I kept it off because, let's be honest, you see a Bigfoot, you see a skinwalker, you see a rake, you see a Mothman. Fuck yeah, you're gonna be scared and anxious. Like, come on.
Yeah, no, there's no way you're not
Actually,
freaked out a little bit.
I would
if you see
attribute
one of
that
these
ability more to Bigfoot because when it goes down to the animal thing, you hear these stories of these animals being scared to approach Bigfoot creatures, but then you have the dog just run straight at Mothman.
Yeah.
Like, he's not able to freak out these animals, so why would he freak out Bigfoot?
Yeah. I think overall, Bigfoot just takes home the medal. He's our champion for the first cryptid versus cryptid. I mean, he
wasn't as fair. But
I mean,
we'll work on that.
going into it, these were two pretty big ones. I think the popularity kind of won out.
No,
but,
yeah, and popularity was a big reason I chose these two right away. Get some heavy hitters out of the way.
I mean, Bigfoot out of the way in the beginning's a nice one to have. You
Yeah,
know, that
and
way it's not just like, hey, Bigfoot.
Later
Bigfoot,
down the road, I do want to bring these back. Obviously, I want to do some stuff where we bring back cryptids we've talked about, but when we do that, it's going to be more short because we won't have to go over history. We won't have to go over stats. We'll do a quick refresher, but it'll be quick. So those will be just other matchups that we'll do maybe a couple in one episode because we're already running up to 55 minutes right now. Mm-hmm. And so it'd just be dumb to go over all the stats again for stuff we've already covered.
Yeah.
But now with our Victor Bigfoot claiming the cryptid versus cryptid belt for this month, week, however we decide to do it, let's talk about something I've been wanting to hear from you guys because obviously I've really brought all this cryptid stuff to the forefront for you guys. So I want to know if you believe in Bigfoot or the Mothman.
All right, Roger, what do you think?
I'd say I believe in them. I've always been more believing that kind of stuff where it's like, oh, Wendigo? Yeah. So I believe both of them, really. Even though it's like Mothman's evidence is a little iffy, but at the end of the day, it's a cool thing to listen to and you can be like, oh, that can make sense if it is real.
For sure.
Yeah.
Andrew?
I'm a firm non-believer in all this. I mean,
all of it.
Yeah. I think no matter what cryptid you throw my way, I love theory crafting, but at the end of the day, I'm just a full non-believer. I've never seen a ghost, and I'll swear my life on that. I've never none of this. So one of these days I'll have an epiphany, maybe. But
we'll go Bigfoot. We'll go squatch hunting, okay? And we'll get you to believe.
Yeah, we'll see. But overall, I've got no actual faith in any of that stuff. I mean, I have no faith in general. So
That's depressing. Okay, well, I'm in the boat, in both of your boats. Bigfoot. I believe in Bigfoot. I don't believe a lot of the shit you hear. I don't think, because every state has a Bigfoot. I believe most of that's horseshit. I think about 5 to 10% of the Bigfoot stuff is real. Because the way I think about it, if there was a like all these Bigfoots, big feet, in all of these states, we would have had to find one by now. Just statistically, the probability of not finding one, if they're all over the country, is just extraordinary.
It's
extraordinary that we haven't found anything.
Its own species, and so it's just more of a rare species, but you'd still be able to see them at that point. Oh yeah. So
I mean, yeah, that's that. Of the two, the Bigfoot's the more believable, but also the less believable in the fact that, like, why do we not have, a skeleton of this?
For sure. But I do believe in Bigfoot. Just I believe a lot of the shit you hear is just bullshit. Mothman, I do not believe in Mothman. One, if he is this guy here to warn us about these tragedies, you're doing a real shitty job, Mothman, okay? 46 people died in the bridge collapse. 46 people. If you're really there on 9/11, you did a bang-up job, buddy. Now, the other two, the mine one and the nuclear power plant explosion, did anybody... I didn't look into this.
Chernobyl still has lasting effects to today, but that's more through radiation than anything else.
So I'll give you 50-50 on that one, Mothman. He could have done a better job.
Yeah.
And then the mine one, if that one is real, I'll give you that one. Nobody apparently died in that one, so you get 1.5 points. But I just don't believe in it. Now, there is a theory. The only way I would believe in Mothman, and this was brought up to me by my buddy Devin.
Shout out again, Devin.
Shout out again. But it's that he's a gargoyle. As in... You guys know what gargoyles are. The statues.
The statues at the end.
That's why you don't see him that much. He's a gargoyle until there's a tragic event. Then he pops out, goes, event's over, gargoyle again. And after he brought that to my attention, I was hearing it more and more. I still don't believe in it, really. But I definitely put more faith into that idea than him just being out there wandering 24/7.
Yeah, that would make sense for them.
But yeah, I mean...
Then that kind of takes the credit, because you'd have to look into when these other stories happen, if he's actually wandering around and doing all this shit with dogs and chasing people down in cars and shit, then you would have to be like, okay, then why the fuck is he doing that if he's here to warn us about something?
Yeah, I mean, it's really the Mothman stuff. I want to believe in all the cryptids, but I'm also partially a realist when it comes to it, and while I do believe in some of the Bigfoot stuff, and I believe there is a Bigfoot out there, even with the gargoyle theory, which I like, I don't have any faith in Mothman being a real cryptid. Well, not a real cryptid, but not real. A real creature. But yeah, I think that covers everything for this episode.
Yeah, I mean...
Any closing statements?
I don't know. We don't have anything to plug, so...
No, we don't. And I use my personal email for the podcast, so I'm not going to be giving that out.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah. I was thinking about making one, but I was just trying to get everything up and running today, and I just blew my mind. And we don't have any social media.
Yet.
Unless you guys want to plug anything.
No.
I don't want to give away my personal one, and I don't have anything that's not.
No, I mean, hey, just listen to the next one. That's all I can say.
Yeah, listen to the next one. Do we want to...
We won't spoil what comes next, but maybe in later
I say we give away
we'll
one cryptid. We give away one. Roger, you were the one picking them out this time. Which one do you... I think we've only solidified one.
Yeah. The only one we solidified, I'm pretty sure, was the Wendigo.
Yeah. So if you're listening, look forward to Wendigo next month. Maybe 2 weeks. It depends. We're just trying to pace ourselves right now, because I got to go through and still edit this, upload this. Since this is our first episode, we got to apply to see if we can get our show on all these different podcast platforms.
We still got to get the art going. Hey, if you got a good artist out there.
Well, they won't hear this until after we've
done the art. No, I'm just saying, hey, like, maybe the first
if you want to support the show, well, they can't get in contact with us.
We'll just make art in general, about the show.
Yeah, but how will they tell us? I got it. I wanted to plug this anyways. Make sure to leave a review and a rating for our show on Apple Podcasts, because that's the only podcast app I'm aware of that lets you leave reviews.
I mean, aren't we putting this up on YouTube anyway?
Oh shit! I totally forgot about that.
Can't they leave?
Leave a comment on
their YouTube video?
on the YouTube video. If you make some art, we are in desperate need.
Yeah.
Of a good art thing. Get in contact with us.
Yeah, because for now we probably only have like a fill-in cover image.
I'm going to throw something together. It's going to look like shit.
Yeah.
But it'll be our own shit. Sounds bad, but that's where we're going to close it off with, guys. Make sure to tune in next time where we're covering Wendigo versus something that's more fair.
See ya.